Ugh. Okay, so that interruption from United Healthcare was so BS and pointless. It was an auto call from United Healthcare and didn't go anywhere. The thing could not understand me saying the word yes. Excellent. So, yay. Maybe because it still had my thing up, the camera thing up. I don't know, but whatever. Should have been defaulted to listening in the phone, but I don't know. Anyways, I was in the middle of the whole, you should be able to do drugs because it's your body thing, which, I'm really having a hard time getting off that, because, it is, but that's not even really the whole point of this. The point basically is that, okay, so we're at that point, right? All right, so my thing is that, where did I go from there? Damn, there was a whole chain of things. That's a good philosophical argument, and it stands on its own. But here we go. Let's see if I can reconstruct this, because I think I had a whole great thing going. All right, so the government, and this is primarily the U.S. government, but they exported it to a lot of countries. The government sold us, or loved, or whatever. They sold us on this war on drugs thing. They sold us on the war on drugs thing. They know it doesn't work. And they like it because it allows them to expand the police state. All right. And so they need that. No, the reason they even need the reason they can do that, the reason they can sell you on that is, man, I should have written this down because I had it in my head as I was walking. Fuck. I tell you can't do drugs, right? Which is messed up, but you want to do drugs because of the messed up society. So they break down society, right? They cause all these societal problems, which make you do drugs, right? The social inequality, and they destroy, what is it called? Social safety nets and stuff. So it causes all of these things that are supposed to be there to help you, and help you get along, to I needed soda, um, to help you get along without easy fixes and without drugs and all that. They don't completely eliminate drug excess, but they mitigate it for the wider population. You still have drug use and drug overuse, but when income and wealth inequality rises and social safety nets are systematically taken down, education is taken down, all of these things, drug overuse, use and overuse rises, then they can justify war on drugs, which means increasing police force and the police, the force that individual police units use. And be like, we gotta stop the drug use. We gotta have drug units, task force. We gotta have mandatory minimums. Start all this shit. And also, now with that increased police force, you inevitably have more and more an increased absolute number, raw number of people in the police force that are dickheads. And I would argue a percentage of people in the police force that are dickheads, which means that you kind of have a standing army of people that are willing to be Gestapo. Let's just go to the extreme, Gestapo-ish. Be kind of foot soldiers. Now that doesn't mean like fascist stuff. I'm just saying they will be willing to do whatever their COs say. It's like whatever, and they'll do extreme stuff, and maybe you can promote them to the SWAT teams and stuff. The guys that get the machine guns and shit. And when you're done with the military, you can go into the SWAT team and be like, "Whoa, go, bust down the door," and blah. So you have this standing kind of almost paramilitary force employed by the government as a SWAT team. SWAT teams in fucking everywhere. And it's justified because of this war on drugs that didn't need to happen, because you broke down society intentionally in order to justify this bloated police state that, again, never needed to happen. Yeah. So you can just see that these things are intertwined, and this kind of tends to be, I think, a very Republican thing to do. The first stage is attack all the social programs and the tax system and then build up a military and a police state at the same time. And then, hopefully at the same time, but if you can't do it at the same time, wait a little while and then do it later. Start attacking, around the edges, social cohesion, and wherever you can do it, and they did it at the predictable parts, the universities and stuff. And basically, attack people that are going to be able to realize it's bullshit. Yeah. But that was kind of my argument. It's like they do one thing, they create a kind of virtuous cycle of reinforcing thing to kind of one feeds off the other. And one justifies the other until you realize they only started one so that they could do the other, so that they could justify the first one. But they started the first one with a kind of I guess it's called a red herring argument, which is bullshit argument, which of course they floated. They always float the first argument. Oh, it's tax cuts, and they say, oh, we're going to give you back enough money. Taxes are so high, you deserve more money. And of course, the first tax cuts in the 80s, like all tax cuts since then, mostly benefited rich people. I mean, they always do mostly benefit, or mostly or exclusively benefit very rich people. Because that's who pays in a progressive system. That's who pays the most taxes. And then if you switch to a regressive tax system that leans heavily on sales taxes and shit like that, poor people are going to pay all the taxes. They're going to pay much more taxes per person than poor people. It's like when people say, the states with almost no people, like Nebraska and the Dakotas, have much more weight in the Senate than New York and California do. They do. They have much more weight in the Senate because the states only get 2 senators. I think they even have more weight in the House because you're given like a minimum number of House representatives too. So, but I don't quote me on that. But definitely with the senators. Every state gets 2 and only 2. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way it is. I think the way we elect representatives is kind of dumb. Um, I don't. I've said this before. I don't think representatives should have districts, um, because if they didn't have districts, it would make it easier for people that wanted to be independent representatives to be elected as representatives. It would make third and non-party representatives easier to get elected if you just went by this state has 47 representatives and the people with the top 47 votes were elected. It would make it much easier for an independent to get elected every term. Now, of course, there would be probably some bad side effects to that, but maybe we could do some analyses of these using election results, and we could say, all right, this election season we're going to have we're going to run everything. We're going to run everything this way. We're going to elect everyone the normal way, but we want, in order to do a proper test case survey and not like a poll or any bullshit, we want people to, on the poll, say, if we were doing it this way, who would you vote for, given all of these candidates? Like, these are the actual candidates, and if we were doing the election this way, I realize that would be confusing for people as voters, but actually that's good because that might screen out the dumbs. Like, if you can't fucking, seriously, if you can't fucking even, you gotta be able to read. Like, and if you can't read a form, one, that says something about you as a voter, and that says something about the education system as an American education system, that people have gotten to the stage of adulthood, of voting age, and they can't read something and figure out what a simple set of instructions means. So that means that the charter school and the school voucher system really does not work. It is a bad system and it needs to stop. Because yes, it is leaching money and it needs to go back to the schools. And another thing about that, funding schools by district. If we're going to do that, what we should do is everything in the state gets into one pool and every school gets the same amount of money. No matter where you are in the States, every school gets the exact same, it all goes into one pool, and every student gets the same equal amount of money to their school. So no school would have the same amount of money year after year because it would have a different amount of students every year, of course. But you see what I'm saying? Property taxes would be collected in each county. That would be added up in every state. And then the state would say, all right, give us your list of students. It's 470. Your school is getting X amount of money. And be like, we don't want our money going to underperforming inner city schools. And be like, well, shit is going to take a few years to even out because we're transitioning to this system now. So too fucking bad. The old system was fucked. So we're sorry. But it's going to take a while to fix up that inner city school because it has lead paint. One of the walls is got a giant fucking crack in it, and one teacher has 480,000 students, and so I mean, they may be underperforming now, but whatever. And you know what? If you're mad that your blah blah rich ass school is not doing good enough, well, you're in a rich neighborhood. You could, send them to a private school, and then they would have even less money. And your little public school would get less money. But the kids that are there, instead of having 20 kids in a class to a teacher, they would have 12. And the ones that are there would get a really personalized education. So yeah, the school would have less funding, but they would really know their teacher then. And the ones that are there would probably get a better education than the ones at the private school that you're sending them to, counterintuitively. And the teacher, a public school teacher in that case, in that area, would probably love teaching there. Imagine teaching a high school math class with only 10 to 12 students because they're all like scared shitless that their kid's gonna do bad. So they pull them out. And now the teacher has time to almost tutor every kid in the class. Every freaking day. Like, screw lecturing with this stupid book. I'll just, I can go off script now that they only have around a dozen students. We can go off, we just do whatever, basically. We can make customized lesson plans for each kid so that I really do make sure that each one learns at their own pace, at the exact pace they need to learn. And, you know, because some kids learn faster and some kids learn not as fast. And you might even be able to you know, get one kid done with calc freshman year into what is it? I forget what it is. It's some kind of exotic math that they teach in college. I forget what it's called. It's weird ass. There are some weird ass math courses in college. I can tell you this though. I realize I'm taking tangents here, but I can tell you this though. Trigonometry. I breezed through algebra. Algebra was boring for me because it was so easy, but even trigonometry for me was like, I don't really understand this. I mean, I do, but like, this is just weird. Like, it's just weird is what it is. I mean, I got it and everything. It was just weird. And I didn't even after a while, I didn't even try to understand calculus because it was just like, it wasn't sticking. Like I could do it. Like if you gave me the formula and you asked me to solve a problem, like, yeah, I can put numbers into formulas and stuff. It doesn't mean I understand it. I mean, sure, but I don't fucking understand why it works. So, I mean, and that's, I don't even think that's really a fault of a teacher. It's just the fault of me. Like, I just don't understand it. So, anyways, that's that. It's a metaphor. And just expand that everywhere. So, I hope that was a good thought. If anyone wants to hear from it, otherwise virtual self, virtual me, boobs out.